Hello again, everyone, and these are the answers to the Star Pupil quiz on the 17th of July 2020, and the quiz was all about nature and geography. So the first question was, which country is known as the land of the rising sun? And that is Japan, and we've been seeing a lot of Japan on our televisions this summer because the Olympic Games were due to be held there, but I think have been postponed till hopefully next year. Question 2, true or false? Adult polar bears have no natural predators, and that is true. Man is obviously a predator, but in the wild, the only predators really which adult polar bears have are other polar bears. Polar bear cubs might be a little bit vulnerable to wolves and some other animals, but the adult polar bear has no natural predator. Russia, it crosses two continents. So question 3, Russia is the world's largest country. It crosses two continents. It crosses Europe and Asia. So it's a vast country, Russia, and actually goes across the boundaries of two continents. Lemurs are only native to one country, and that is Madagascar. And I gave you a little bit of a clue because there was a film, and I think a series of films actually a couple of years ago, about Madagascar, called Madagascar. Question 5, a male elephant, and it's called a bull. So a male elephant is a bull. And a group of bees or wasps, which is question 6, is a swarm. And it can also be used to describe other insects. I think we talk about a swarm of locusts. Something maybe you could investigate what other insects would fly in swarms. And question 7, the largest waterfall in the world. And I said you could have a bonus point if you knew where it was. And it's the Angel Falls. And you can find them in Venezuela. So the Angel Falls are in Venezuela. And question 8, and I asked you which animals keep warm in a huddle. And of course, it's my favourite. It's the answer to that was penguins. Penguins, and you may have seen sort of video footage of them all in a huddle, sort of trying to keep warm in the absolutely, I mean, you only think you've been cold, but imagine what it's like in Antarctica where the temperatures are way, way, way below zero. And what they do is they move towards the centre, so everybody sort of takes their part in keeping warm in the huddle. Question 9, and that was a geography question. Mount Everest and K2 are the highest and second highest mountains in the world. And I asked you what mountain range they were in, and they're in the Himalayas. So, and again, you might want to do a little bit of research and look up where the Himalayas are, which countries you would go to if you were going to go to the Himalayas. And question 10, I showed you this creature and I asked you what it was called and where was it most commonly found. And that is a sloth. And you would find them in rainforests in South and Central America. Question 11, the longest river in Africa. And I can give you a little clue there, saying it was very important to the ancient Egyptians. And that's the River Nile. Question 12, the Sahara, the Kalahari and the Gobi are all examples of deserts. So they're all deserts, not deserts. So spelling is very important, but they're all examples of deserts. And again, a little bit of research if you want, if you've got an atlas at home. I used to have a globe, an old-fashioned globe that used to spin around and look at countries, but you might have an atlas at home where you might be able to just look it up to see where those 3 deserts are. And I asked you the main difference between monkeys and apes. Now, there actually could have been a couple of answers you might have given to that question, but the main difference is that monkeys usually have a tail, and apes do not. But also apes do tend to be a little bit bigger and they tend to live longer. But they're both primates. I asked you what class of animal they came under, and they're primates, as indeed are humans. So again, something you might want to do a little bit of research on. I showed you a flag of a country. I don't have a copy of it right now, but that was the flag of Brazil. So that's sort of that background with the sort of round sphere, and there was a little bit of writing in Spanish in it, and that was the flag of Brazil. And again, my clue was you would have seen it a couple of years ago because Brazil hosted the Olympics, the last Olympics in 2016. And actually, if my memory serves me correct, they also hosted the Football World Cup a couple of years before that. So to be a flag that you've probably seen, particularly to do with sport. Question 15, spiders and scorpions belong to which group of animals? And they're arachnids. And those of you who are like me, who maybe wouldn't be hugely fond of spiders, might suffer from something called arachnophobia. So that's sort of people talk about arachnophobia. It's a fear of spiders, the 8 legs scuttling around. But they're very harmless. But as I say, I'd be of the not so fond of them up close camp, I certainly would have to admit. Question 16, and I asked you the nickname for New York City, and it's known as the Big Apple. And again, I'm not sure why that is, so it's something maybe you could find out about, but sometimes you might have heard people talking about the Big Apple, and they mean New York City. Question 17, an interesting question, does actually provoke a lot of thought about tourism and going on safaris, and you may even have discussed that, maybe had some debates and done some persuasive writing about it. But tourists do go on safaris in southern Africa, and they want to see what they call the Big Five, one of which is the Cape buffalo, and the other 4 animals are the leopard, the rhinoceros, the lion and the elephant. So people go on safaris because they want to see those animals in their natural habitat. Question 18, in which country would you visit? Munich, Frankfurt, Bonn and Hamburg, and they're all in Germany. And I have to say, I've actually never been to any of them, which is a shame, and they're on my list definitely to visit. Some really interesting history. The composer Beethoven, for example, was born in Bonn. Lots to find out about there. And those of you again who follow football might know of some of those cities through sort of football leagues and that sort of thing. And an interesting question, I got question 19. Which animal only has 4 knees, or the only animal that has 4 knees? And that's the elephant. The elephant actually has 4 knees. And I suppose when you think about an elephant and its size, probably it doesn't need those extra knees to help it move around. And the final question, I showed you a landmark. And again, I had hoped to be able to show you the picture of it, but my computer is playing up just a little bit. Oh, no, we're good to go. And I showed you this landmark, and I asked you what it was called. And it's called Uluru, Uluru. Now, I know some of you might say it was called Ayers Rock, and it did used to be called Ayers Rock, but its official proper name is Uluru, and you would find that in Australia, right, so almost in the centre of Australia, in what's called the Northern Territory, I believe quite close to Alice Springs, I think. But again, something you can do a little bit of research on if you want to find out a little bit more about Uluru. And because it's such a precious landmark, and has a real significance to Australian Aboriginals, the Australian government have now, you can't climb it, you can go and admire it and look at it, but you can't actually climb it to protect it and preserve it. So those are the answers to today's questions. As I always say, I do hope you enjoy it. I know I'm repeating myself, but I do hope you enjoy it. And I just want to say a couple of quick things. I want to say hello to my good friend Jane, who celebrated a very special birthday yesterday, and a special hello to her nieces, because Jane was telling me when I was sending her birthday greetings that her nieces have been enjoying these quizzes. So I just want to say a little hello to you, and thank you for doing the quizzes, and thank you for the really positive feedback, because that always means a lot. We always like to be told that people are enjoying things that we're doing, and as I say, they are just a bit of fun. I enjoy a quiz, I enjoy general knowledge, I enjoy finding out things, and I think it's just a nice way to round off the week. And I know for a lot of you this will be the final formal week at school, or that home learning is perhaps going to just be not so much a focus for the next few weeks, because schools officially, and certainly in England, are finishing up, and the holidays are here, even though it's a very, very, as I've said many times, a very strange end to the school year. But I'll repeat myself again, well done for how you've got through it all, how everybody has coped in their different ways. And we know there's been the good days and the bad days, but hopefully the good days have outweighed the bad. And let's hope, certainly, I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but here in Northern Ireland, we haven't really had what you'd call summer weather for the last few weeks. So I'm hoping there'll be a little bit of summer weather and we can do some of the summer things that we would do. Even if it's just getting outside and just enjoying just our local area. You really do appreciate your local area when you've not been able to go to lots of different places. But anyway, take care, look after yourselves, and tune in next week for the next quiz. And I say I'll put the theme fairly early on in the week, just to let you know what it's going to be about. Okay, bye-bye, take care.